All right, friends, it's Team Man. We're back again with a new video on Jason Blaha. We're going to do a reaction video to the gym lifting, recruiting, fitness gear slave himself, Jason Blaha. Blaha says training deloads are counterproductive. Okay.
The longer I have coached, the more I've concluded that deloads are largely unnecessary if your training programming is dialed in. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha.
He coaches? I had no idea. How does he coach? Through virtual reality here? YouTube, eh?
Here, I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And again, this represents a topic where I have kind of evolved because I came from a bit of a background of some periodization, some concurrent.
I've never seen a client coach Michelle or any of these so-called clients that he had. He was using their videos. I think they found out about him and they complained to YouTube. YouTube threatened him with a letter. So now he's gone like in the dark. He's gone quiet now. These videos are not popping up anymore using people's content pretending they're his clients, because it's uncanny that every time he posts in his community section, he's seeking 3 open slots all the time. He always has 3 open slots because there's no slots open. There's nothing. Nobody wants him as a coach. And as far as client Michelle, if that was true, she's his client, why doesn't she ever make a video acknowledging Blaha or talking about him or anything? I've never seen any video where she actually acknowledged that she was a client of Blaha. The only thing I know is he stopped posting her videos because something happened recently. It's posted, plastered all over YouTube about him trying to do something with his client Michelle, and she rejected him.
Periodization and stuff like that. Historically, I always kind of bought into the idea that we needed deloads. But the longer
you need a rest from being a lifting slave, moving for adaptations in neurological drive. Yeah, okay, whatever. That's crazy. Let me see how good I can get lifting the heaviest weight because I wanna increase neurological drive, which oh, wait a second, if I go away from the gym within 10 days it goes away? Well, what was the point of lifting then?
I have coached, the more mature I've become as a lifter, the more I've come to understand.
Look, everybody asks me, hey man, can you go in a gym and do a PR or lift a heavy weight or something? Bro, I don't care about PRs. I don't care about lifting heavy. I don't care about neurological drive. I move for adaptations in muscle growth. That is astronomically difficult. No steroid can build you muscle. Only through an adaptation. That's the only way. You can use steroids. You can use it as an aid, but you still have to get an adaptation. The steroids are not going to get an adaptation for you. You have to damage the muscle fibers, and they're astronomically hard to damage because I brought up enough evidence and I've shown everybody through NCBI the adaptation process in eccentric exercise. Look, man.
According to PubMed, eccentric exercise-induced adaptations include muscle hypertrophy, increased cortical activity, and changes in motor unit behavior, all of which contribute to improved muscle function.
That's right, because it's based on muscle damage. There's one specific one I'm looking here, adaptation to, I don't know if I can find it, man. Hold on a second. It could be this one. I don't know. Hold on. I don't know if it's this one. Okay, this is contraction and velocity. This is a good one too, but yeah, this is not the one though. So here, possible mechanisms include greater accumulative damage to contractile tissues or stress induced by slow eccentric muscle contractions. I've done slow, but fast is much better. They'll tell you here, it says, we conclude that neuromuscular adaptations to eccentric training stimuli may be influenced by differences in the ability to cope with chronic exposure to relatively fast to slow. Definitely. I would say if you're doing eccentric and you want more of this neurological drive. You can move for slower contractions, but rapid contractions are better for damaging muscle fibers. You'll still get this. You'll still get the neural drive, because you can lift heavier on the eccentric, can take more load going down with because you're in a stopping motion, bringing down the load. You're bringing loads down, heavy loads. You don't want to focus on the concentric movement. Not if you're moving for adaptations, bro, but whatever. Yeah, I don't really know where it is, man. Hold on a second. I think it was muscle damage. Hold on. So listen to what they say here. The ability of muscle to rapidly adapt following the damage from eccentric exercise raises the possibility of clinical adaptations. Mild eccentric exercise, yeah. That's what it does. It adapts rapidly to the damage. Eccentric exercise, how does it do that? Repairing, remodeling a lot stronger, that's what it does. Then it's resilient from further assaults. So the ability for muscle to rapidly adapt following, okay, whatever. I don't think it's this one, hold on. The proposed mechanism, one of the proposed mechanisms for the adaptation is an increase in sarcomere number in muscle fibers. Yeah, you only get that in damaged muscles. A second period of exercise a week after the first produces what? Much less damage. Here, let me bring it up to the top here so you can see it. A second period of exercise a week after the first produces much less damage. This is a result of an adaptation process. That's the adaptation process. Why are you producing less damage after the first week, and then after that there's no more damage? What happens is it drops. You still get a little bit more damage, maybe because you come in, but then there's no more damage. Why is that? Because it's adapted to what? To your exercises, your lifting, whatever it is you're doing there. So you're not building any more muscle. If you're not damaging muscle, you are not building any more muscle. Got it, man? And a lot of the muscle that's built up is through the sarcomere numbers and muscle fibers, the contractile. These contractile fibers, once they get long enough, there's no point in stretching them anymore. They don't stretch anymore. See what I mean? You wanna cause more damage to everything, structural damage all over the place. It's not just contractile proteins you want to build either. It's a complex sequence of events, but whatever. That's not what I'm looking for either. This is the one. So exercise-induced muscle damage and adaptation. So, right here at the bottom here, had been presenting a repeated bout effect, training effect. We know repeated bout effect, no more damage. The stress-susceptible fibers may be eliminated by susceptible areas within a fiber may undergo necrosis and then they regenerate. That's what they do. They go through necrosis and then they regenerate when they're damaged. These regenerated fibers, along with adaptations in the connective tissue, may provide greater resistance to what? Further assaults. Get it? See that right there? Further assault. Greater to further assault. So what do you need to do? You need to assault them. How do you need to assault them? Man, you're going to have to do a lot of work to assault them. Get it, broski? To get them to damage. Otherwise, they ain't fucking damaging. It's really simple. They ain't damaging. You ain't building squat other than sarcoplasmic hypertrophy muscles. Physical conditioning results in adaptation such that all indicators of damage are reduced following what? Repeated bouts of exercise. Look, physical conditioning results in an adaptation such that all indicators of damage are reduced following repeated bouts of exercise. They're reduced and then they disappear. It's gone. It's gone, bro. That's why they tell you here, the training performance single exercise bout. Following a second bout of exercise performance 1 to 6 weeks after the first bout, there is a reduction in morphological alterations and performance decrements and profoundly reduces elevation of plasma CK. And where do they explain that? Because as being presented, explain the repeated bout effect training, whatever. And there you go. So that is the problem. That's why they tell you unaccustomed exercise has been shown to result in temporary repairable skeletal muscle damage. It doesn't say people who are trained are getting damaged. Why aren't trained people getting damaged? What are trained people getting? Oh, it's really simple. You want to know what trained people are getting, broski? Here, this is what trained people are getting. This is what they're getting, bro. They're getting what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. There you go. See that? Sarcoplasmic. And what is that? A type of artificial muscle growth. There you go. That's what trained people are getting. High volume resistance training in trained young men is largely attributed to sarcoplasmic hypertrophy as opposed to myofibrillar hypertrophy. Got it? Yeah, man. Anyways, let's go back to this doofus. I'm wasting time here.
The more I've realized it's just completely and largely unnecessary. And I tend to agree with my friend Alex Viata on this when he's kind of pointed out it's counterproductive. Like we shouldn't need to just add volume and add.
So what are steroids really good for? They're enhanced performing drugs. They help you lift heavy. Okay, if a steroid can help you lift heavy, what is the major thing in getting an adaptation? Okay, number one, you can't be damaged to try to re-damage the muscle fibers. They won't re-damage with a repeated bout. That's definitely for sure, because they're in a stage of repair and remodeling. They're highly protected, especially during that time, because if you try to push that envelope, you may end up with rhabdo in a hospital in a stupor, dying in a coma. Now, if you have steroids and you are moving for an adaptation and you can lift and it allows you to lift astronomically heavier than you would normally do, then you can lift heavy weights for repetitions and then you can get a new adaptation. That's what steroids are good for. That's about it. If you're asking me, because you as a natural person, you can only lift so heavy. I mean, you can keep getting adaptations and keep lifting heavier and heavier, doing it that way. But you'll reach a point where it'll get very difficult to damage these muscle fibers. And even lifting heavier it'll become more difficult with the time. That's what happens, because remember what it said? It is resilient from further assaults. That's the point. So we want to use everything in our arsenal. So if we do have access to so-called what you call steroids or certain things that can make you lift heavier, they can bind with the receptor, giving you maximal force production. When the hormone binds with the androgen receptor, it gives you maximal force production. Okay, but how can you do it naturally? Well, it's really simple. You got to be in an anabolic growth state. If you're in a positive nitrogen balance, anabolic growth state, then you've converted the catabolic hormone to an androgen, so it doesn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. That's what anabolic means. It means you shut it off. That means there's no breakdown in any tissues. And if there's no breakdown in any tissues and there's a buildup, that means you've converted the catabolic hormone to an androgen. It can't occupy the same space if you're anabolic. It can only occupy the same space if you're not anabolic. Get it? There you go. Whatever. So if you're anabolic, it'll give you more force production because it'll bind with the receptor. It's not competing. There's more force production. That's naturally. But like I said, can you use this in your arsenal, steroids, to try to get an adaptation? Yes, but these steroid people, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're not moving for adaptations. They're just lifting and getting the pump and going, haha. And they're using it they're wasting drugs. They're really wasting drugs and performance drugs. They're wasting and performance drugs. They're not muscle building drugs. Get it? What builds muscles? Well, the satellite cell, follistatin, myostatin, and what? The satellite cell. It builds muscles. How does it build it? When it's activated. Where? Through muscle damage. It has to be activated first, right? See what I mean? Just because you have a steroid, you say, well, the steroid is going to synthesize protein. Yeah, but muscles have a myonuclear domain size limit. They have reached the ceiling limit during hypertrophic process beyond where they can donate any more extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. So what do you need to do to support further muscle growth? You need to activate the satellite cell. Get it? The steroid is not going to activate it for you. Steroids aren't going to keep activating it for you. But if you do activate it, and let's say you get an adaptation taking steroids, and it is activated, then of course you're going to get an adaptation, right? It's going to help, because then these nuclei come out, and then the steroid can synthesize protein a lot easier, because it is a wasting drug. You're wasting away on HIV. You're dying. Get on AIDS or whatever. You get it, dude? You're anorexic. I don't know. So there you go. If you don't understand that, nobody can explain it to you.
Volume and that volume you can't recover from till you force overreach.
Haven't you had enough of these global...
Competes in multiple sports, both endurance and strength sports concurrently.
I don't know what he's talking about. Some dude or something. Who cares?
Coaches people who do so. Same thing with other people I've seen.
You look 85 years old, man. You look terrible. I'm 10 years older than you, and I don't look 85. You look 85.